Not a bad start for the Braves bats opening weekend against the Royals. 5 home runs in total, and this was the one that got it all started Friday, courtesy of Ozzie Albies.
It's finally here, the Braves home opener at Truist Park, where the energy, it's electric, my friends. After a West Coast stint, the Bravos come home for the first time this season to take on the Miami Marlins. There's your Braves on the Braves Walk. Blooper getting in on the action. It's a party out here at Truist, and the best part about all of it, your Braves are on gray. Ozzie Albies had that homer last night. Can he get it going again? We are going to find out while your Braves are on gray. Welcome in for all you watching as your Braves are on gray. Game 2 between the Yankees and Braves, sure to get this house packed for another showdown. The Braves begin that hopeful climb with a statement win last night, 7-3 over the Yankees. Welcome into Live from the Chop. I'm Baillie Burmaster alongside Charlie Culberson. They call it clean old-fashioned hate because Georgia and Georgia Tech don't just dislike each other, they despise each other. A rivalry running hot for over a century. And inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium today, the Dogs and Jackets run it back for the 119th time. Inside the house at Arthur Blank Built, there's more than bragging rights on the line this afternoon. A&F Game Time will take you right up until kickoff set for 3:30. Welcome into Atlanta News First Game Time College Edition. I'm Atlanta News First Sports Director Baillie Burmaster, joined alongside the Dogs you've seen all season long on this program. Quarterback Jake Fromm, All-American punter Drew Butler, defensive end Davin Bellamy. Rennie Curran's supposed to be here. Homemore's running late, so we're benching him for the A block. We'll get him back when we start getting things going. You guys, let's forget about the conference championship scenarios right now. This game between Georgia and Georgia Tech always packs a mean punch.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be a fun one.
Bring on the Rebels. Georgia faces another test this afternoon, a team they are looking up at in the rankings and SEC standings, but don't count out the Dogs, who are battle-tested, confident, and could beat anyone any given day. Welcome into Atlanta News First Game Time College Edition, live from Creature Comforts Tap Room in downtown Athens. I'm Atlanta News First Sports Director Baillie Burmaster, joined by a bunch of former Dogs. We got the quarterback Jake Fromm, linebacker Rennie Curran, and then the All-American punter Drew Butler in the house. Guys, Kirby Smart says he's not big on revenge, but that's coach speak because they're looking for some revenge after last season.
Yeah, I definitely think so.
Despite the Rebels looking lackluster against Washington State, this is one of the best offenses in the country. And for a second straight week, the Dogs defense lines up against a run-happy team with a dual-threat quarterback under center. Let's dial up the defense with the 5th member of our team, Atlanta News First sports reporter Avery Braxton, who is outside Sanford Stadium with more. This is an interesting topic because we've seen it go both ways. James Franklin gets shown the door despite having the second largest buyout in college football history, yet coaches like Billy Napier and Hugh Freeze, who are perpetually on the hot seat every week, are still kind of passed on until the following week. What do we make of the state of college football when it comes to the coaching changes?
Yeah, there's a ton of pressure. What have you done for me lately?
These numbers are success at the plate since August 1st. You can see Ozzie's numbers there, Michael Harris. I really want to tune into Profars for a second because these stats for 2025 are very similar to his 2024 season. And the question was, were you going to get the 2024 Jerkson Profar when he came to the Braves? And I think looking at how the second half of the season has been for him, the answer is yes.
Yes, we got a portion of that, and hopefully in the next 2 years.
You know, with Austin Riley out, Nacho Alvarez has had to step up in a big way. And behind all those highlights has just been a gratefulness for the opportunity he's gotten here in the bigs with the Braves.
Georgia Tech baseball is off to a flying start. Has a lot to do with that guy right there, the new voice steering the Jackets. With Georgia Tech entering a new era under head coach James Ramsey, I went one-on-one with him to learn what's changing, what's staying, and what he believes this team can accomplish.
Like I said, we're getting you ready to kick off at 3:30. Let's take a look at what's coming up on A&F Game Time. At 2:11, a bit of history as we share some of the top games from this rivalry. Then 2:30, we'll break down the scenarios that need to happen for both Georgia and Georgia Tech to make their conference championship games, plus the Dogs' college football playoff positioning. Then 2:50, we sit down one-on-one with head coach Brent Key of the Jackets. But first, the 119th installment of this matchup. It was just a year ago that this game was an 8-overtime thriller and the greatest game in this rivalry's long storied history. It's fueled both sides to tremendous 2025 seasons. The Dogs 10-1 in a virtual loss for the college football playoff. The Yellow Jackets 9-2 with a long shot chance at the postseason themselves. Kirby Smart and Brent Key are two coaches cut from the same cloth, and their mutual respect for each other is oh so very evident.
You're watching ANF Game Time, sponsored by Engineered Solutions of Georgia, Atlanta's foundation repair experts.
Taking a live look from inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium, a place where Tech sold its Georgia home game for $10 million. Georgia Tech has played one home game here every season since 2021. That Benz, less than 2 miles from Tech's campus in Bobby Dodd Stadium. It is sure to be a packed house here today as we see two of the best signal callers in the game, Gunnar Stockton and Haynes King. They are household names in these parts. We're going to take a little bit of a QB comparison with a little help from Atlanta News First sports reporter Connor Hines.